Hi guys, it's the final ever team of the week for Six Nations 2025. Just want to say I feel like it's been quite a disappointing tournament. I know it's been exciting in parts, but I feel like the Northern Hemisphere just not been good enough. Like France have kind of schooled everyone in how to play rugby. Like missed kicks off the tee, like we saw Marcus Smith miss loads of kicks off the tee. That you'd expect him to nail. Finn Russell missing so many kicks, throwing stupid passes. Sam Prendergast and Jack Crowley, 1 minute being great, the next they can't get shite off a rope. As my dad would say, it's snow off a rope, but he used to always say shite off a rope. I feel like the big problem is consistency. That's one thing where you just don't know what you're going to get. It's not through lack of talent, it's through lack of consistency. Maybe over reliance on players who are great, but they're getting on. Especially in Ireland, we've been calling out for new players and they're just not listening, and it's come back to bite us in the arse big time. And then all we're hearing from the Irish pundits is, oh, we just don't have the depth, we don't have the player pool, we're too reliant on the private school system. Now, I think there's some truth to that, alright. When it's we're a small country, what do you expect? New Zealand have a smaller population than Ireland and they always come up with talent. Now, they've reached a bit of an impasse, so when they had New Zealand before, they'd 60 players, 4 players in every position, not much weaker than each other, so they could just slot in, no problem, effortlessly. And I get the impression looking at France and looking at Ireland, the players seem to be enjoying it a lot more in France, and they seem to be finding a lot more pressure on them in Ireland, and they seem to kind of. It looks like a chore. It doesn't look like they're enjoying it as much as what they are in France. And you can shout on all you want about the 7 month split and all that stuff, but the bench is there. Use it how you want. Pardon me. But you can use a bench however you wish, and the French bench, the Munch Bunch, has certainly been effective. Like, they've played the 7 month split in every single game for the last 3 weeks. So the opening 2 rounds, they did a 6-2 split. And then they stuck with the 7 month split, and I mean, it worked. Like, it's very risky, but they lost 2 backs, so that's kind of like you're up shit creek without a paddle, and yet they still managed. They survived, and they beat Ireland comfortably. They beat Italy very comfortably, and I mean they stuttered a little bit against Scotland, but not much issues. You know why? The forwards decide who wins the game. The backs decide by how much. Like, I have no issue with the 7 month split. And France deserve to win the Six Nations. Fair play to them. But I don't like the way Fabien Galtier's carried on about the Tyke Bar Andrew Porter cleared out. I'm just going to call that out right now. He's added fuel to the fire. And how pathetic do you have to be to give death threats to the family members of 2 players just because you think they illegally took out your star player? I'll admit it was a bit dodgy looking, but it's a rugby match and the 2 players in question are not dirty players. So I think that's absolutely disgusting behaviour from Galtier. A coach who I think is very good, but his behaviour and antics have been disgraceful. I don't like it. But I don't see anything wrong with the 7-1 bench. Playing forward myself, I remember being over relied on. And I can only imagine Andrew Porter, how exhausted he is. What a phenomenal player. Definitely the starting loose head for the Lions, no doubt about that. We are just over relying on our starting players. We're not using our bench wisely enough. You could say we just don't have the size, we don't have the speed. You can make excuses all you want. I don't see any excuses. Leinster are the best resource team in world rugby at the minute. At least one of them anyway. And yet they're struggling. They keep shouting on about their wonderful academy systems, and yet they're just not producing the talent. The under-20s have been hammered, being beaten well. I think France won that as well. So obviously at youth level, France are doing something right and we're not. France have a bigger population, sure, but I can tell you from playing rugby, I found it a very niche group. You have to be in the know-how. It's definitely not the most talented players get through. I'm not saying the guys that get through aren't talented, but they certainly were in the know-how. And I've seen very talented players just go by the wayside. And I was only saying to my mum, lads that I played with who were brilliant, but really dedicated, would never drink or smoke or nothing. All of a sudden they're overweight and they're smoking and drinking, and they couldn't care less about rugby. They're not doing anything because they've wasted a lot of time, and then they're going, fuck it, I'm just going to take the piss, quite literally, and have a laugh because I wasted my time training hard for nothing. And let's face it, at a certain point, if something becomes inconvenient, you're not going to stick with it. Um, and I feel like we've narrowed the playing pool in Ireland ourselves. It's our own fault. Like I remember, like you say, we don't have the size. I remember playing against teams from Kildare, Carlow, Offaly. They were fucking enormous, huge big fellas. What happens to them? Here in Wexford, where I am, there's loads of talent, loads of it. I just don't think lads want to play. Simple as. I don't think it's enjoyable, and I think they're dropping off. I stuck with rugby as long as I could. I'm still coaching it, but playing it just became too much of a chore. Um, like if you're on a private school system, you have your meals planned out for you. You have a gym program. You get time off class for games. I remember being given out to by a teacher who was running the rugby in our school, and he gave out to me for being 5 minutes late because I was in the gym first thing in the morning before school, and I was 5 minutes late because I had to have a shower because I was like, I'm not fucking coming straight to class after a gym session without a shower. You manky bastard. I'm having a shower before I go. Doesn't sound good, does it? We're doing something wrong. Clearly we are. Because we've got plenty of resources, we've got plenty of talent. We're just not using it right. And I showed you the depth chart and how many players you can put in. We just aren't doing it. So we've got the players, they just need game time. We can't keep sticking with the same players. Prendergast has not been good enough, and yet we keep sticking with them. Crowley had a chance and he didn't take it. It must be said. But yeah, no, we're not doing something right. Something is very, very wrong indeed. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Like, you can't be going on about being ranked world number one and then saying, oh, we just don't have the depth, we don't have the type of athlete that other teams have. No, we're too set piece orientated and pre-planned move. We don't play good heads up rugby. We're creating lads who are playing in a private school system, which is structure based. It's planned moves. That might win you senior cups. It's not going to win you World Cups. It's not going to win you, back to back Grand Slams or 3 Six Nations in a row, which we should have done. We should have expected to win that, and not just assume we were going to win it, but thought we're good enough to win this. I think we are. I don't think it's down to lack of talent. I think it's lack of desire, lack of enjoyment. They don't seem to be enjoying it. It seems like a chore, as you say. That's the reason why less Irish players are featuring in my team of the week every week. So, without further ado, let's get to the final team of the week for this year, and here it is. So the England front row were very good against Wales, and I feel like the England pack in general were enormous, quite literally and metaphorically, so they get a huge mention. Ellis Genge and Will Stewart. Will Stewart is the most improved player I've seen in the front row. He's played very well, really solid, and he got a try, deservedly so. Ellis Genge, you could hear Ellis Genge having a cheeky word with Will Griff-John. He was there, oi mate, you're a tight head prop, you don't know a scrummage. In his thick Bristol accent. You're a tight head prop, mate, and you don't know how to scrummage. And then hooker in the middle, Dan Sheehan. 5 tries, highest scoring forward by a mile. Incredible. One blip against Wales, but he's only back from injury. He got 2 tries when his first game back. He's incredible. He's such a good athlete. He's excellent, really good. And we would have been lost without him at the weekend. The front row for England were very good and they dominated, but Dan Sheehan, best hooker in the Northern Hemisphere. Like, imagine what he'll be like coming to the Lions tour. He'll be in flying form, averaging a try a game. Like, that's incredible. Marchand and Movaka not even getting close to. It's actually quite disappointed with those two, as good as they have been. I'm going to do a team of the tournament. This is just a team of the final week, and I'm going to do a team of the tournament, like overall. But yeah, Ellis Genge and Will Stewart had the measure of Nicky Smith and Will Griff-John all day. So very good. And then Will Stewart getting a deserved try. Well done, sir. You make the team. And then carrying on with England players, Maro Itoje and Chandler Cunningham South. Itoje getting a try, getting turnovers. Cunningham South, immediate impact off the bench. I know he's normally a back rower, but he can play at second row, and he did. And boy, was he good. You know, the forwards dominated. I think, what was it? It was only Alex Mitchell, Tom Roebuck, who was good, but not didn't get as involved because the forwards were doing all the hard work. But Tommy Freeman, playing at centre. Marcus Smith, I believe, got a try as well. But the forwards doing all the hard yards. They just walked through Wales. Wales went out without a fight, really. So yeah, these two really led the way. I feel like I told you it was lucky. There was one clear out around the neck. He seems to get away with an awful lot. I find it hard to believe that England are the best disciplined team in the competition. That's what the stats say, but is that them being well disciplined or just getting the rub of the green? We don't know. But they did play very well and they dominated Wales 68-14. I did not see that one coming. I don't think anyone did. Been a few very surprising results, which has made it more exciting, but I think the overall talent hasn't been great, to be honest with you, and I'm going to go through my updated Lions team as well, which should make for fun reading. More bench power, Henry Pollock. Looks a bit poncy, doesn't he, with that headband and all, but he's a good player. He's a very good player. 2 tries off the bench, speedster, great carrying. He was outstanding. Very good player. Exciting prospect. Jesus, England are stacked in that back row, aren't they? They really are. And one of the Twin Delu's features, but it's not the one that I've been singing his praises. It's Ben Curry this week, man the match, and like just a menace at the breakdown. England, I think, are kind of more sympathetic of their players, so they don't expect big forwards to play big minutes. In Ireland, we do, and that's just simply not fair. You know, it's hard to play a forward. The packs are the ones who decide who wins the game with the big hard yards that they produce. And we're just not with the times, you know. Ireland are a very fit team, but we need to get more physical, you know. We miss too many tackles. We get bullied way too often on the pitch, and other teams dictate the tempo of the game. Like Italy brought it to us, and we just had no answers. And I say, without this man here, number 2, we were fucked. 3 tries by him, he was outstanding, but everybody else can hold their head in shame because they weren't good enough. Nowhere near the level we should expect of that Ireland team at all. But a player whose praises often don't get sung enough are this man, Francois Crowe. He hasn't featured in my team of the week before, not down to lack of talent, because he just does all the dog work that nobody else wants to do, which is your typical flanker. He's a machine, he gets through so much work. He's a beast of a man, and he's one of the unsung heroes of the French team because he always goes the whole game. You know, if you bring on the 7-1 split, 7 forwards, and Francois Crowe is normally the one that stays on, which tells you all you need to know. He's a beast. Real talent and a monster in the tackle. He 10 tackles at half time, and you can guarantee he added to that. I think he has like 70 tackles overall in the competition, which is incroyable. Beast of a man. Very good player. Right up my alley as well. He's a player I'm very fond of. And deservedly makes this team. So just thinking now. Yeah, that's about 14 tackles a game, I think, roughly. 14 and 14 is 28, then 50. Yeah, 14 tackles a game, because 5 games, and 5 12s are 60, and then, 5 14s are 70. So 14 tackles a game, which is brilliant. Sebastian Negri actually leads the way, but Francois Crowe gives you more around the field than Negri, but Negri putting in a very good shift. And Jack Morgan with 73 tackles. You know, and it's unfortunate, but you can't put him in the team when the back row got bullied for Wales, and Francois Crowe comes out on the winning team most weeks. Unchanged halfbacks, Maxime Luco, another outstanding performance from him. Toma Ramos this week getting a try just after was already brilliant performance. Outstanding, really good. So they're staying. And the one man to retain his position throughout the whole tournament, Louis Biel-Bowie, 9 tries. Oh, a beast, an absolute beast, such a good player. Um, Deservedly player of the tournament and got 9 tries in the whole thing. Like that's incredible. Nah, he keeps his place. There was other players as well, but BL3 keep him in it. He's the only player who's maintained his position. He doesn't look like much, but the kid can play really good. Um, Absolute superstar. One for the future, you know. Well, one for now, because he's really coming into his own. He's just a weapon. And then we'll just go through it from. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go. I know it's left winger, but we're going to go from right to left from where I am. So number 12, Ben Thomas. And I know it's a Welsh player and they got beaten 78-14, but Ben Thomas has scored 3 tries in 2 games and he's finally been played in his actual position, which is 12, not 10. And we've seen the difference. And he got 2 tries against England, never gave up despite Wales being dead and buried. So credit to him. He deserves to be in this team. He's also taken 2 massive shots by Roman Entomac and Gary Ringrose. Two bad hits that both got red cards, but I know that caused lots of controversy, didn't it? But he deserves to be in this team. Yeah, no, he did very well. And I was thinking of Tommy Freeman, but I feel like in a team where they were absolutely dominated, Ben Thomas never gave up, and that's what I like to see. So he deserves to make this both of Wales's tries. So fair fucks to him. Happy with that decision. A man who stepped up, the new Caledonian, Joran Moefana, doesn't look like much, but that French Polynesian DNA, he's a beast, and he was just smashing Finn Russell for fun. Every time the ball was passed, he'd throw in a little cheap shot. Lucky to get away with a few, I have to say, but 2 tries and solid in defence, very good. I think next to Gael Fickou, he was much better. Fickou just has that experience and that level head. Barassi's still young. I feel like having Fickou there was much better. Just gave that balance, to the centre partnership, and Fickou looks like he never left. He's physical as well, he's strong, but Mo Fan is just more your run it straight, smash, crash. And I'll put him at 13, but that's to make way for Ben Thomas. 2 first centres are going in again, like at my first team of the week. And then we have Monty Ioane. And we know how much potential this man has. I always say, go Monty, go. But he played very well against Ireland and got a deserved try and absolutely nailed Mac Hansen in a tackle. I was there thinking, Hansen did very well to hold that ball, but Monty had a good game. He was very good. Physical all the game, fast, got a deserved try, the opening try of the game, and looked like a threat the whole game. Very good player. Tom Roebuck, honourable mention. Great debut. The Six Nations, I do believe it's his debut, but could have been him or Freeman, because I know Freeman's a right winger, but Ioane had tougher opposition and he did very well. Whereas Damien Penaud went missing and Darcy Graham just wasn't consistent throughout the whole game. But Joey's still dangerous. And then at fullback we have Marcus Smith, who really stepped up, and his kicking off the tee was much better. So yeah, credit to him. He goes into the team, deservedly so. A much better game from him. You're going to need to see that now for the Lions tour if he wants to get in. But another try for him as well, so fair play. Did very well. The hooker position is somewhere, it's kind of been boring. Nobody's really stood out, but Cowan-Dickey was solid in the scrum, which is why he gets the nod. Powerful. The England front row dominated the Welsh front row, so they have to get a mention. And Dan Shane was by far the best hooker, so he has to start. But now we put Cowan-Dickey in there because he deserves it. Powerful all game, for sure. 17, Mr. Consistent, Andrew Porter. Gets through so much work. Like, again, nobody really is jumping out for a loose head position, but Andrew Porter is a beast. 52 tackles in the competition, like that's over 10 tackles every game for a loose head prop, and he plays 70 minutes. Like, he's a beast. He's an absolute machine. And all that bullshit that was being said, I think somebody even was sick to say something derogatory about his dead mother. Shame on you. If you fucking did that, you're a disgusting human being. Don't just think it's a throwaway comment. Like, to say something like that to him, That's fucking disgraceful. You should be ashamed of yourself. But don't worry, Andrew. I just want to say we all support you. You're a great lad. My brother met you, and was fortunate enough to see you in the Leinster camp, and he sang your praises. So we know you're a good guy, and don't mind all that bullshit. We love you, Andy. You're a great guy. And moving on, Joe Hayes keeps his spot because he was good and he got a try. Solid again, the set piece, really solid, and both tight heads for England getting a try, so that's pretty impressive. And that sums it up really. The forward pack just dominated all game. And Joe Hayes, yeah, looks like an exciting prospect, just a big bulldog of a man. Him and Stewart dominating the loose heads for Wales, who had a torrid game. So yeah, and then moving on, replacement second row as we go over here. Mikhail Guillard, who was very good. I feel like he's an exciting prospect. Like having another back rower on, gets through so many tackles, jackals the ball excellently well. I feel like no one even noticed that France changed both their second rows. So they started off with Alexander Aruma and Emmanuel Miafu, and I was kind of excited to see Miafu, but he disappointed. Guillard really impressed me. Got a try with his first start against Italy. And against Ireland, he got through a mountain of work. He puts in so many tackles. He's a beast. Very exciting. Got a jackal turnover as well against Scotland, and he's an impressive player. I like the look of him. My kind of player again, and you could probably put him as a flanker also. That hybrid kind of role. Ben Earl's unlucky to not have started, but I feel like Francois Crowe deserves some praise for all his hard work, and we've really got to see it against Scotland. Commentators highlighted it, so I feel like he's the reason France stayed in that fight because of his hard work, his tackles, and massive pieces of play. He's such a good player. But Ben Earl is also massive for England. His carries, his jackal turnovers. Only 7 tackles a game, which is weird for an open side flanker / number 8. But ball carrying is superb. His turnover is very important, so might not make as many tackles as I'd like for a back rower, but definitely does the other stuff very well also. He's actually missed quite a few tackles as well. But yeah, massive for England in the collisions and specimen. And then Alex Mitchell. He might box kick too much, and I'm going thinking a player of his ability who can play the ball should be carrying and passing, because he's got the ability to do it. Got a try, was very good, and always looking to snipe. You got to keep your eye on him because he will snipe if you give him a moment. And if your pillars aren't set, you can bet your arse he's going to carry. And joined by his half-back partner, Finn Smith. Finn Smith for me has really put his hand up and said, I want that Lions jersey. He's been better than any other fly half I've seen, more consistent, very good off the tee, good tackler, hugely impressed. Where everybody else has failed to state their claim, he's really put his hand up and gone, that jersey should be mine. And the thing I like about Finn Smith is he's not cocky, he just goes about his day, just another day at the office. He gets difficult kicks, he kicks well out of hand, physical in the tackle, good passing. I really like the look of him. I think he could be the Lions 10. Just gonna say, Finn Russell hasn't done enough for me. Jack Crowley certainly hasn't. Give him one opportunity. Don't like the way he's been traded, but you got to take your chances. I understand it's difficult, and he hasn't been traded fairly at all. Him and Kieran Frawley, don't like the way they've been traded, but that's the thing. When you get an opportunity, you've got to work harder. You just got to take your chance. And he missed some very simple kicks against Italy. We would have beaten them 28-17 had he taken his kicks, but he took the ball to the line very well, and his carrying was good and his passes, but his kicking just wasn't good enough off the tee. Prendergast is so inexperienced. I feel like he just needs more time to develop at Leinster, which he'll get now, and it's good to see, but we need to sort that shit out at 10 because it's going to cost us. But Finn Smith certainly looks more accomplished than he showed than the Irish players and the Scottish. And Wales, I wouldn't even said Gareth Anscombe maybe, but no, he's past his best. Jared Evans, it's not looking good. There's a lot of positions for the Lions that you're kind of picking the best of a bad bunch, really, if I'm being honest. When I go through that, like I'll make a whole video on that. But I'm not very excited about it. I think Australia could beat us. The Lions, that is, because not a whole lot of very talented players in Australia are peaking. They're starting to look very good. Just saying. But then to top it all off, man that I've been very impressed with and enjoyed watching, Blair Murray. That should have been a try. Thomas Williams touches Tom Curry after he drops the ball back. Should have been a try. I don't know how that was disallowed, but Blair Murray deserved it. He's a smashing player, so good. Lightning quick, deceptively strong, and busts tackles for fun. He's a beast, really good. And player I've thoroughly enjoyed watching. So there we are, guys. Disappointing for Ireland, very disappointing. That was a very poor performance. And had Italy's discipline been better, I think they would have beaten us. You know, like just look at it and you think we got a bonus point win against England, Italy, Scotland, but we failed to get a losing bonus point against France. We just got pummeled and steamrolled by them. Didn't have enough in the tank. England managed to get a losing bonus point against us by scoring 2 tries in the final 4 minutes. That's unacceptable. We handed them that opportunity, which is why they finished further ahead of us. Not good enough. And then we failed to get a bonus point win against Wales, which we were more than capable of doing. France is a different story, alright, yeah, but we should have gotten one against Wales, and we didn't. Had we done that, and just think about this for a second, right? So even if we lost to France, which we did, I know we did, but had we gotten a losing bonus point against France and a winning bonus point against Wales, and bear in mind England beat them 68-14 in Cardiff with a bit of an improvement to their squad, I might add. France beat them 43-0. Okay, and Scotland up until the final, it was the final 20 minutes where Wales got a really good comeback through just grit and determination, but Scotland put 35 points on Wales, so let's not focus about the final score, but Scotland beat them with a bonus point win. So Scotland beat them with a bonus point win, so did England and so did France. Are we putting ourselves in the same category as Italy, sorry? 3 other teams that we compete with that we would consider ourselves to be better than, and I mean we beat all 3 of those teams, beat 2 of those teams. We beat Scotland and we beat England. We beat Scotland in Murrayfield and we got a bonus point win. We should have done that in Wales. We just didn't show up. There was a real presumption we were going to win. 2 tries, that's all we got. We should have gotten 4. No excuse not to. We completely shit the bed in that game. And had we gotten a winning bonus point and a losing bonus point against France, we would have been on 21 points. Now, France, ironically, France would have won in the end because they got 21 points. And they also had their tally in the end was insane. It was plus 106 and then plus 125 points. That's not even including the points that they scored. That's subtracting the points they conceded. They were insane, the amount of tries they got. They punished teams. They got the most tries in the tournament by a mile. They were very good. I think they got 30 tries. It's insane. Next best team was 18 maybe. They were clinical. So you think as well, when France lost to England, yes, they slipped up big time. Nobody saw that coming, but they got the losing bonus point and then they won with bonus point wins in every other game. So they got a bonus point in every single game they played, which gives them a buffer to lose a match. And I mean, their hands, they left them at home on the fucking plane against England. And England showed a lot of grit and determination and got a bonus point win against France by 1 point at home. And look, they might have shit the bed against Scotland, but they won. They still had enough in the tank. And Russell, missing conversions, but England still got that win. They finished higher than us, so England were in disarray. Borthwick was going to be sacked, whereas we considered ourselves in a good place. Well, we clearly aren't. And I was saying it about the autumn internationals, how poor we were, but Everybody wants to blame Simon Easterby, not his fault. This shit was coming beforehand. We simply weren't good enough in the autumn and it nearly came back to bite us in the arse. Very poor against Australia. No attack whatsoever and three forwards had to bail us out. A forward had to bail us out against New Zealand and we still lost in a very lacklustre performance. We were shite. Offered nothing in attack. And against Argentina, a poor Argentinian performance and they only lost to us by 3 points in our home ground. What the fuck is going on there? Not good enough, and it's come back big time. And the only two players to feature are Andrew Porter and Dan Sheehan, two forwards, because they're the only ones really that did anything. I was very disappointed with Ireland. We're letting teams into the game too easily, far too easily. We didn't kick the ball off the field when the 80 minutes were up against Scotland, and that could have come back to bite us in the arse. A Scotland team that fancy themselves to win the whole thing, but I guess they do every year. But yeah, it's frustrating being an Ireland fan in any sport, let me tell you. Because they're great at getting your hopes up only to crush them. They just don't switch on. And yeah, we didn't deserve to win that Six Nations. Would have been a travesty if we did. I think this is the time to reflect and go, look, we're not as good as we think we are. We're fucking up seriously with the development of young talent. We've got to get better at it. We've got to bring through some young players. Otherwise, we could be the next Wales. Wales were excellent and then all of a sudden they weren't. So, you need to go kick up the hole now. Alright guys, gonna make a team of the tournament and I'll release that afterwards. But this is the team of the week for round 5, final round of the Guinness Six Nations. Hard fucking watch. Very hard watch at the weekend. But look, I was having a few cans of Guinness, so washed away my trauma. Alright guys, see you in the next one.